Hello and welcome live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy, and coming up in the next 30 minutes. India's middle class is confident and determined to drive the country's journey towards development, says Prime Minister Narendra Modi. External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar apprises the Indian Parliament over developments pertaining to deportation of Indians from United States. The White House says President Donald Trump has not committed to putting US troops in Gaza, also wants Palestinians to only be temporarily relocated out of their Palestinian territory. And England put up 248 runs after losing all 10 wickets in 47.4 overs, failing to complete their full quota of 50 overs in the first one-day against India. Now, in his reply in the upper house of the Indian Parliament to the debate on the motion of thanks to the President's address, Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke on a number of issues, highlighting the government's initiatives for the progress of the country. The PM spoke about the firm stand that his government has taken on Uniform Civil Code.
मैं आज बड़े संतोष के साथ कह सकता हूं कि हमारे संविधान निर्माताओं की जो भावना थी, उसी का आदर करते हुए, उसी से प्रेरणा लेते हुए हम आज आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। कुछ लोगों को लगता होगा ये यूसीसी क्या लाए हैं, लेकिन जो संविधान सभा की डिबेट पढ़ेंगे उनको पता चलेगा कि हम उस भावना का यहाँ लाने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं। कुछ लोगों की राजनीति आड़े आती हो, लेकिन हम संविधान निर्माताओं की भावना को जीते हैं ना, तब जाकर के ये साहस करते हैं और कमिटमेंट के साथ पूरा करने का प्रयास करते हैं।
Now, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar made statements in both houses of Parliament on the issue of deportation of illegal migrant Indians by the US. He said that the government is engaging with the Americans to ensure deportees are not mistreated.
We are, of course, engaging the US government to ensure that the returning deportees are not mistreated in any manner during the flight. At the same time, the House will appreciate that our focus should be on strong crackdown on the illegal migration industry, while taking steps to ease visas for the legitimate traveler. On the basis of information provided by returning deportees about the agents and others involved, law enforcement agencies will take necessary preventive and exemplary actions.
He added it was in the collective interest of everyone to discourage illegal mobility.
But it is in our collective interest to encourage legal mobility and discourage illegal movement. In fact, illegal mobility and migration has many other associated activities also of an illegal nature. Moreover, those of our citizens who have been inveigled into illegal movement themselves become prey to other crimes. They are trapped into both moving and working under inhumane conditions. Members are aware that unfortunately there have even been fatalities in the course of such illegal migration. Those who have returned have also testified to their harrowing experiences.
And Dr. Jaishankar further clarified that the deportation of Indians who entered the US illegally is not without precedent.
Homeland Security Department data actually shows prior to 2014, their numbers, American numbers were actually close to 1,000. The numbers I have given, sir, as can be seen in the statement, are from the Bureau of Immigration. In many cases, possibly because if they were not issued emergency certificates, they may have been treated differently. Maybe they went to some other country. So I would say we should look at this in a overall manner rather than try to make clever points about which year was a little higher than which year.
Now, US President Donald Trump's administration appears to be on the back foot on Wednesday after his proposal to take over Gaza sparked an uproar, with the United Nations warning against ethnic cleansing in the Palestinian territory. More in this report.
Donald Trump's stunning proposal that the United States could take control of the Gaza Strip invited strong reactions from governments around the world. Facing a wave of criticism from Palestinians, Arab governments and world leaders, Trump's Secretary of State Marco Rubio said any transfer of Gazans would be temporary, while the White House insisted there was no commitment to sending U.S. troops. U.S. President Trump had said at Tuesday's news conference that the U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and he insisted Wednesday that everybody loves his proposal.
I do see a long-term ownership position, and I see it bringing great stability to that part of the Middle East and maybe the entire Middle East. And everybody I've spoken to, this was not a decision made lightly. Everybody I've spoken to loves the idea of the United States owning that piece of land, developing and creating thousands of jobs with something that will be magnificent in a really magnificent area that nobody would know.
But the tone changed after reactions from across the globe. Rubio said the idea was not meant as hostile, describing it as a generous move, the offer to rebuild and to be in charge of the rebuilding.
It's a unique offer, one that no other country in the world has stepped up and made an offer. But I think it's one people need to think about. Seriously, it was not meant as a hostile move. It was meant as I think, a very generous move, the offer to rebuild and to be in charge of the rebuilding of a place, many parts of which right now, even if people move back, they would have nowhere to live safely because there are still unexploded munitions and debris and rubble.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said Washington would not fund Gaza's reconstruction, adding that Trump wanted Palestinians to be only temporarily relocated out of Gaza. The United Nations warned against ethnic cleansing in Gaza.
In the search for solutions, we must not make the problem worse. It is vital to stay true to the bedrock of international law. It is essential to avoid any form of ethnic cleansing.
Guterres' spokesman Stefan Dujarric further reinforced the world body's view on the matter, adding that any forced displacement of people is tantamount to ethnic cleansing. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has, however, welcomed the plan, urging that the idea should be pursued and implemented.
But the actual idea of allowing first Gazans who want to leave, I mean, what's wrong with that? They can leave, they can then come back, they can relocate and come back, but you have to rebuild Gaza. If you want to rebuild Gaza, you can't have, this is the first good idea that I've heard. It's a remarkable idea. And I think it should be really pursued, examined, pursued, and done, because I think it will create a different future for everyone.
Leaders of Egypt, UAE, Jordan, France, China, and the EU have opposed the view. The European Union stressed that Gaza is an integral part of a future Palestinian state. Bureau Report, DT India.
And Trump is still backing what he said, because in a morning post on Truth Social Thursday morning, which is his platform, he said, and I quote, "No soldiers by the US would be needed. Stability for the region would reign." And he's also said that Palestinians would have already been resettled in far safer and more beautiful communities with new and modern homes in the region, end quote. Now, the Guatemalan government has agreed to ramp up the number of deportation flights it receives from the United States after a visit from Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Speaking alongside Guatemalan President Bernardo Arevalo in a joint press conference, Rubio said he had pledged U.S. support to the Central American country's efforts to return people not from Guatemala to their homeland. Since taking office on the 20th of January, President Trump has stepped up the number of migrants the U.S. deports to Latin America, including using military planes for repatriation flights.
the president who's made the offer today, then we'll be working on the details of all this, but the offer to increase these flights and these deportations by 40%. It's very important for us in terms of the migratory situation that we're facing. His willingness to accept not just nationals, but those from other nationalities as they seek to ultimately return to their own homelands is also important, and we've pledged our support with those efforts.
And Rubio also announced on Wednesday that he will sign a waiver for programs aimed at combating drug trafficking in collaboration with Guatemalan authorities, as these initiatives align with their national interests.
This is an example of foreign aid that's in our national interest. That's why I've issued a waiver for these programs. That's why these programs are coming back online and they will be functioning, because it's a way of showing to the American people this is the kind of foreign aid that's aligned with our foreign policy, with our national interest. That's why we want to take the relationship Guatemala has with Taiwan and expand it beyond diplomatic relations to stronger economic ties as well in terms of bringing investment.
And the U.S. Secretary of State has also said he will not attend the G20 summit in South Africa, accusing the host government of an anti-American agenda. Rubio's announcement comes 2 days after U.S. President Trump lashed out at South Africa over land reforms aimed at redressing inequalities perpetrated during the apartheid era. In a post on X that took on the tone of Trump, Rubio said he would boycott the G20 talks of foreign ministers in Johannesburg on the 20th and the 21st of this month. Earlier this week, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa rejected Trump's assertions that South Africa was confiscating land and said he was ready to explain his government's land reform policy to his U.S. counterpart. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said that his country has significantly intensified its communication with the U.S. administration. Washington has been one of the biggest suppliers of military aid to Kyiv since its conflict with Russia began almost 3 years ago. Despite this, the United States re-elected President Trump and has regularly criticized the extent of U.S. help provided to Ukraine. However, Zelensky noted that Ukraine continues to receive military aid from the U.S., but there is no discussion currently about any prospective packages.
We have significantly intensified our contacts with the U.S. administration. We are also engaging in quite substantive discussions with our other partners. Ukraine needs real, lasting and guaranteed peace, as well as the means to ensure that Russia always knows what awaits those who wish harm upon Ukraine. We are open to strong diplomacy. That is exactly what we are preparing. And for this, we need the resilience of our warriors, the effectiveness of our army, and the modernization of our forces.
And still to come in this edition of DD India Live. In Sweden, a probe is on into a mass shooting which killed 11 people. Pakistan's President Asif Ali Zardari meets Chinese President Xi Jinping in Beijing. And January 2025 has been recorded to have had the warmest on record globally.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, Swedish police have recovered 3 rifles near the body of the gunman responsible for one of the country's deadliest mass shootings, which left 11 people dead and several injured. At a press conference, authorities revealed that the suspected shooter legally owned 4 guns, with 3 found besides his body when the police arrived at the scene.
At the site, we have found around 10 empty magazines. A large quantity of unused ammunition was found next to the deceased perpetrator. We have a perpetrator who was found inside the school and he was not known to us from before. He has a gun license for 4 guns and all these 4 guns have now been confiscated. 3 of those weapons were next to him when police secured him inside the building.
Chinese President Xi Jinping met Pakistan's President Asif Ali Zardari in Beijing on Thursday as he began a 5-day visit aimed at strengthening diplomatic ties between the two nations. During their bilateral talks, Xi reaffirmed China's commitment to deepening its strategic partnership with Pakistan. Both the sides signed key agreements on global security, trade and joint research. Now, ahead of the World Summit on AI that will witness global leaders, industry pioneers and policymakers from around the world, France's Prime Minister François Bayrou's government convened an inter-ministerial committee on artificial intelligence in Paris. The gathering in Paris is expected to focus on harnessing the power of AI systems while addressing the risks posed by the technology. The Global Summit will officially commence on Monday, that's the 10th of this month, at the Grand Palais in Paris. Tesla sales stumbled in Germany in January, and there are questions whether company founder Elon Musk could also be to blame for the decline. Joining us with more on that is DW's Chiponda Chumbelu in Berlin. Well, how are you doing, Chiponda? Just tell us more about what's happened.
Thanks for having me. Tesla's sales were down 59.5% in Germany last month compared to January last year. And that is despite the fact that new vehicle registrations rose significantly for electric vehicles here. Now, Tesla's market share in Europe's biggest auto market, Germany, is now significantly smaller. It shrunk to only 4% from 14%. But this trend isn't limited to Germany. Across Europe, car sales for Tesla have been falling. And in neighboring France, which is of course Europe's second biggest market, they tumbled more than 60%. Tesla's competitors are overtaking the car maker, and car buyers may be choosing other models because Tesla founder Elon Musk has been weighing in on politics in other countries, including Germany.
All right, and apart from this, the politics over the issue, what else could be affecting its sales?
Elon Musk has endorsed the far-right Alternative for Germany, the AfD. Now, in December, he wrote an opinion piece promoting the party in one of the most read newspapers here, Die Welt. And last month, he hosted a discussion on X, which he owns, with Alice Weidel, the AfD pick for chancellor in the German federal elections. Now, the AfD is the second most popular party. It has been polling around 20% ahead of the upcoming elections on February 23rd. But it doesn't have any chance of being part of a German government because the other parties have ruled out working with it. And that is, of course, because the far-right party, which is, of course, well known for its anti-immigration rhetoric, is also considered racist by many people here. And some car buyers may be increasingly turning away from the car brand. And of course, Musk has also been outspoken about politics elsewhere. In the UK, he's been critical of the current ruling government. He has called for the release of far-right extremist Tommy Robinson from prison. And Robinson has been in a jail cell for contempt of court and spreading false claims about an underage Syrian refugee since last October.
All right, well, we have to see how it goes from here, especially in the election in Germany. Chiponda Chumbelu, thanks for joining us from Berlin. Now, the world has just recorded its hottest January ever, marking yet another month of extreme global temperatures, despite the onset of the cooling La Nina weather pattern. According to the European Union's Copernicus Climate Change Service, January continued a streak of record-breaking heat, with 18 of the last 19 months exceeding 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. Scientists warn that the trend highlights the worsening impact of climate change. Secretary General of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, that is the SCO, Nurlan Yermekbayev, met with Indian Minister of State for External Affairs Kirtiwardhan Singh at Hyderabad House in New Delhi. During the discussions, both the leaders emphasized the importance of strengthening regional cooperation under the SCO framework. They explored various avenues to enhance collaboration in areas such as security, economic development and cultural exchange. The meeting also focused on setting priorities for the SCO's agenda in the coming year, with a shared commitment to promoting peace, stability and prosperity in the region. This engagement was to ensure India's active role in the SCO, to foster multilateral partnerships and address common challenges for achieving shared objectives. The President of the 79th session of the UN General Assembly, Philemon Yang, is visiting India from the 4th to the 7th of this month. On Thursday, Yang laid a wreath at Rajghat paying tribute to Mahatma Gandhi, and later he is to also pay a courtesy call on India's President Draupadi Murmu. Let's now get you some sporting updates as well. England posted 248 runs in the first innings against India in the first ODI in Nagpur after English skipper Jos Buttler won the toss and opted to bat first. Philip Salt and Ben Duckett provided a flying start to England, but the side failed to cash in on the brilliant beginning. Salt slammed 43 while Duckett hit 32. Jos Buttler and Jacob Bethel scored fighting 50s for England. Buttler scored 52 while Bethel got 51. For India, Ravindra Jadeja and Akshar Patel claimed 3 wickets apiece. India have currently begun their chase and have lost 2 wickets in the form of Yashasvi Jaiswal and skipper Rohit Sharma. India's current score stands at 54 in the 9th over. Australian all-rounder Marcus Stoinis has retired from one-day international cricket with immediate effect to focus on T20 cricket. He has also pulled himself out of Champions Trophy squad. Stoinis was a member of Australia's World Cup winning squad in 2023 but was dropped in favour of Marnus Labuschagne for the semi-final and the decider against India. Stoinis earned a spot in the Champions Trophy squad for the tournament co-hosted by Pakistan and the UAE. All-rounder Mitchell Marsh has already been ruled out of the tournament with a lower back problem, and captain Pat Cummins is unlikely to feature due to an ankle issue. Now, in the Regional Football Championship, Punjab FC delivered a dominant performance, defeating Garhwal Heroes FC 3-0 in the regional final at Frontier Football Club, Delhi. With this emphatic win, Punjab have secured their place in the national final set to take place in Goa this April. Take a look at this report.
The latest edition of the Dream Sports Championship football tournament began in Delhi on February 2, 2025. The edition of the Dream Sports Championship has taken grassroots football to new heights, offering young talent a prestigious platform to shine. With matches being held across 6 major football hubs, the championship has provided aspiring players with a competitive stage to prove their mettle.
ये जो शुरुआत है बहुत अच्छी है, इसमें अच्छी अच्छी टीमें आई हैं, अच्छे अच्छे स्टेट की टीमें पार्टिसिपेट कर रही हैं। आज फाइनल में गढ़वाल और दिल्ली और ग्रास राउंड पंजाब की टीम है और ये फाइनल बहुत अच्छा आ रहा है। इसमें जो अंडर एज की यूथ लीग के प्लेयर्स खेल रहे हैं, ये एक प्लेटफॉर्म बहुत अच्छा है और ये एक अच्छा इंसेंटिव जो लिया उन्होंने। मैं तो उम्मीद करता हूँ जितनी भी संस्थाएं हैं हिंदुस्तान में ऐसी उन्हें ऐसे टूर्नामेंट करना चाहिए ताकि अच्छे अच्छे खिलाड़ी निकले और अपने देश का प्रतिनिधित्व कर दें। ये एक अच्छी शुरुआत है सर।
Punjab FC wasted no time making their mark in the Delhi leg final as Vishal Yadav opened the scoring within the first 5 minutes. They maintained their 1-0 lead through a tightly contested first half. Early in the second half, Vishal struck again, doubling Punjab's lead, and as the match progressed, he completed his hat-trick to seal a 3-0 victory for Punjab. With a standout performance, Vishal was named player of the match.
We are training hard from last few months and we are training together and we prepare well for all the matches. Thank you to all the staff from around us, and we all are together and we give our best.
We being the defending champions, they've been there, and of course there's a little pressure and big hopes from us. So of course the boys are humbled and they have been practicing very hard for the tournament, and this is a regional one. We are happy that we won it, and we need to work hard more and to focus on the national champions. So of course there is a long way to go, but we'll still celebrate the little wins.
The Delhi leg final saw a high-energy contest between Punjab and Garhwal as both teams fought relentlessly for a spot in the upcoming national finals in Goa. Adding further significance to this year's edition, the tournament now includes a Under-17s Girl Championship, emphasizing the need of nurturing young talent regardless of gender.
The Delhi leg of the Dream Sports Championship concluded at the Frontline Football Club in Delhi. As the tournament progresses further, competition will get tougher as teams from across the nation will eye the national finals in Goa. With cameraman Lalit, this is Mehar Raj Singh for DD India, Delhi.
And that's all we have for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from DD India and across the world on DD India's mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS. You can scan the QR code on the screen and download the app right now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.